Guys, this thing says it's going live and then it wasn't going live, but now it says I'm live. So I never know when it comes to starting up. You gotta just love the way that works. Thanks for coming to the Lore Reloaded. Don't know how long this is going to be. I'm actually just testing out a couple of things, as well as telling you guys about a couple of stuff. Well, I am tired. Can you tell? Since I'm doing it a different time, don't know if anyone's going to be here or not, so that's again why we're testing. Hey, if you're watching this and you are actually a YouTube member, if you're a part of the membership class, please let me know. Charles Ryan Lee always can rely on my friend Charles. Charles, go and down, look where you're actually typing. You should see a little smiley face. You should see emoji. Click on that little button for me and tell me if you see anything under Lore Reloaded. If so, can you try to click on it and tell me what happens? I'm able to do it. I'd be curious if you are. And some of that stuff you just can't tell what it is, man. I don't know. I'm going to have to work on those. And let me know what you think about those emojis. What's going on, people? I'm not here, says J. Paul. Well, that's just excellent. I knew you're not here. Seattle coming in. We got Jeff Franklin, Ebenezer, 1690 or 1960, whichever one. Justice Ag up in his house. Hope you doing well, good sir. So, going to talk about a couple of things, depending on how many people show up. If a lot of people show up, great. If not, we'll just end it pretty quickly, and I'll delete it like it never happened. First thing, just to let you guys know, there is an actual podcast that I have put together with Kat Walsky called the War Canoe Podcast. We'll be doing that probably twice a month, depending on how popular it is. We will be doing it more than that. Maybe. Depends on how well it goes. There'll be two sides to it. The first one is for those that are members or patrons on either of our channel. There'll be a like 30 minutes to an hour, probably 30 minutes segment where we talk about the spice and the tea and all that good stuff and just break down whatever you guys want and whatever we want to do. It'll be open specifically to those who are a part of again, just the members or the Patreons. And then we will do a longer segment where we just hang out and talk about all the fun stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, as I said beforehand, if you're an actual member, a part of YouTube, do me a favor and click on the emoticon, the emoji down there. Tell me if you see the different emojis. Tell me if you can figure out what they are and if you like them, and try to use them in chat for me if you could. I want to see if it works out or not. Wesley Crusher for President 2020. Yeah, that'd be worse than anyone we've ever had. Ever. Bold Persian doing well. Hope you are doing well, sir. Good, sir. So, with that out of the way, I'm excited about the War Canoe thing. I think it'll go off quite well. I think you guys will really enjoy it. But the other thing we want to talk about, and thank you for using the grinning thing, Charles, but tell me, there should be a section that says Lore Reloaded that you should be able to see and use as well. Let me know if you can see and use that one. The other part was just to talk about the Galaxy class and the Delta Quadrant for a minute, simply because there were that is a question that commonly comes up. A lot of people will ask, well, how do you think the Galaxy class would do or the Defiant class would do versus Voyager? And it's an intriguing conversation, but when you think about it and when you break it down, the best case scenario was literally to have the Voyager, the Intrepid class, get lost on that side, because it quite literally was designed to be able to survive such a long journey. Whereas while the Galaxy class is an explorer, it's meant to find new things. It is not meant to be dropped on the other side of the map. On the other side of the map, it is slower than the Intrepid, which would make it a lot longer to get home, as well as the fact that it is bulkier, and while it holds more, it could hold more when it comes to consumables, specifically for the ship to survive. It, at least for the crew, the dilithium goes a lot quicker, and the the ship itself wouldn't really be able to sustain the amount of damage. It's way too bulky, and the warp drive is just not designed for that type of uh, journey. Chris Borland helping out the channel. Thank you so much for the $20. It's always appreciated. As you guys know, that's how I keep the lights on. Are you talking about LaForge's ship in the episode where his ship chased the Delta Flyer to their Voyager crash ship? No, I'm talking about the Galaxy-class starship. I'm talking about Picard's ship. Good sir. Picard. Q as Discord for President 2020. I could get behind that. Hell yeah, I could get behind that. I mean, who couldn't know when you're thinking about it, honestly. We need an Akira class hero ship. I would agree with that, but I don't think the Akira could survive it either, though, honestly. If Cisco and the Defiant went to the Caretaker's array, he'd just fend off his enemies until O'Brien figured out how to use the tech and then send them home. Yes. The Defiant would die almost instantly. I love the special emojis. Yeah, let me ask you this. When it comes to the emojis, can you make them out? Can you tell me what they are without actually looking? Can you see? Tell me what these two are without looking at the emojis themselves. Because I don't think they look that good. That said, I do like these two. So I'm just gonna have to work with it a little more. The Love Boat would have had to set up a colony and reproduce to survive. That is true. Yeah, it could not make it. And I would say, Charles Ryan Lee, the Galaxy has a 20-year lifespan. It can go a lot longer without resupply than the Intrepid. It can go a lot longer without resupply when it comes to consumables for the crew and such. I would agree with that. However, again, the dilithium in the warp core, the Intrepid has an advanced warp core, which allows it to not burn dilithium near as fast as the Galaxy class. The Galaxy class burns dilithium pretty heavily, pretty hardcore. And so they would constantly be having an issue keeping the dilithium up. Beyond that, the warp, I believe, to travel safely on a Galaxy class, I want to say, what is it? Warp 8? Let's take a look real quick. What's cruise for... Warp 6 is the initial average cruise velocity. Warp 9.6 can be done for a few hours. So they travel at warp 6. How many light years was Voyager to Earth? I don't know if we'll know that. Voyager to Earth, Star Trek, not, actual Voyager 1. Star Trek. 75,000 light years. So, all we got to do, and I actually have handy dandy, warp core, let's see. Warp light year converter. Warp speed calculator from Star Trek Minutia. Let's say 7. So it says warp 6. Let's say 7, right? And it said it was 75,000 light years. Let's see. Time. So warp factor 7. Distance is 75,000. Calculate. That's 700 and, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 798,651 days. So, calculator, well, how many days in a year? 365. So let's look this up. Let's do this. Let's nerd out, people. Calculator. Here we go. 7985. Can I do this? Can't. 798,651. 798,651 divided by 365. That's 2,188 years. Took me that long to figure that out. Anyway, that's 2,188 years. So I don't think that they're going to be able to make the trip. Galaxy class, but I can see the Galaxy class avoid trespassing into other culture territories rather than going through. Yeah, I mean, the I think that Picard may have done it smarter. Well, no, even Picard is incredibly stupid. So if we remember in which one was it? It was the first one when they met the Borg. So first episode with the Borg would be Q-Who. In Q-Who, Q sends him they sends them near Borg space, or not near Borg space. I'm sorry, sends them near a Borg cube. And what do? On their way home, they begin exploring. They begin searching stuff. They don't instantly head home. So even Picard begins to look around. Farpoint Station, given $2. I'm not sure I'm going to read this based on just a few of the words I see, but let's see this. When you go use the restroom, do you look down in pride before flushing? Yes, I always do that. Yes, I do. Every time. Quark could have made it home by hitchhiking, and he'd make a profit in the process. Probably would have. But yeah, so, I mean, when we're looking at the Galaxy class, and this was kind of unfortunate for me, I'll be honest. When I started thinking about it and I started breaking everything down, the ship itself, it is so contrived when you look at Voyager, because the Intrepid was specifically made for this purpose. No other ship could have done this with the technology that they had. They literally created new technology and put it on a ship, and it was entirely convenient that was the ship that went there. The Defiant definitively couldn't have done it, and for so many ways. Of course, they would have killed so many people before they got home, but before they, perished. The Galaxy class just is not fast enough to get back, and the Intrepid was the only one that would be able to make it. TNG Galaxy class would have gotten a visit from Q at some point, and Picard would have given a speech to send home. Yeah, I mean, there's other places he could have gotten home. They would have definitely gotten home. They just wouldn't have done it conventionally. This, and here's the thing. I talk about this all the time. They talk about this all the time. I just lost it because I'm reading your guys' comments. Could a Sovereign make it? Let's see. That's an interesting question. Let's take a look at the Sovereign class. Give me a second. Sovereign class starship. This is on the fly. Does it tell us what kind of warp core it does? I don't even think we know.
And I'm ready to have some fun. Look at my shot.
What are you doing? Did you guys even hear that? You probably did. You did hear that. Thank God. Thank you, commercials. Okay, so it can go warp 8. We know for sure. Let's go to the propulsion system. Sovereign starships achieve warp 8 flight through 2 warp nacelles, which multi-pairs of warp coils could achieve warp 8. Warp 8 is the highest speed a Sovereign class ship was known to have traveled on screen. There were 2 impulse engines. What about the warp core? Can't tell us. I know what kind of warp cores things have. My God, what have I done with my life? 2 large cylindrical tanks are positioned next to the warp core. I don't care about that. Arranged around the warp core. We don't know what kind it is. Let's say it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that they would downgrade the warp core for the Sovereign at all. So we're going to assume that the warp core was at least on par. That was a commercial by fucking Memory Alpha. So why don't you tweet them and thank them for hearing that, because that was from them and their commercials. So we're going to say that the Sovereign has at least the same kind of warp core that the Intrepid has. It can go warp 8. This ship is similar to the Intrepid in that it's actually very much more powerful. Let's say that it goes at warp 8 too, because I think that's fair. I think saying warp 8 is fair. So warp Factor of warp 8. Distance 75, 1, 2, 3. Was it 75,000 we said? 75, 1, 2. Time calculate. 53,503 days. 53,503 days. 53,503 days. 53,5. Whoop. Why is it not working? Why aren't you working? Work. 53,503 days divided by 365. It's about 146 years. Now, they would get pushes and things like that. So the Sovereign, I think, assuming they could have got some pushes to get there faster, because 150 years is a long time, I think the Sovereign could have survived and would have done better than the Intrepid, by far. But anything that was designed before the Intrepid would have never made it, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, Charles Ryan Lee, you're talking, they would have to upgrade the warp core for the Sovereign for it being more powerful warship rather than an Explorer. I do agree that in theory, the Sovereign would probably have a more powerful warp core than the Intrepid. That only makes sense. It's a much larger ship. It's a battleship, whereas in the Intrepid is not. However, I try to be as conservative as I can be, because if we can say that it can do it conservatively, then it only empowers it more when you're looking at the more powerful that it would be. And there's no evidence that shows us that it would be more powerful. While I think logically you could make that argument, me personally, I would just say that it is on par with the Intrepid at a minimum, but most likely would be more powerful. I think Beta Cannon shows Sovereign cruising speed at warp 7 with a max of 9.3. Okay. We observe it at warp 8. Is what we say for sure. Now, what it can go past that. Warp 7 honestly seems a little slow on a cruising speed for the Sovereign to me. Well, Calip MC, I wanted to do it for you guys. Hey guys, if you're just tuned in, do me a favor. Go at the bottom where you're typing. If you look to the left, you will see an emoji, a little smiley face. You should see Lore Reloaded, and you should see different icons there, different emojis. Let me know what you think of the emojis there. Let me know if you can use them. I don't know if it's members only or if anyone can use them. I'm actually going to work with a bot to have some fun with those emojis. I don't like the last two. I really liked them in concept, but I don't think you can tell what they are. So I'm just going to have to change them. No, that's not the Kazuna AI. That's the evil AI. That is the evil Google AI. Because she's evil. What about the Delta Flight? Why are we randomly looking this? I mean, we can, I guess. We're talking about religion. Yes, that is exactly what we're talking about. Also, for those who are new, the War Canoe podcast is a podcast that will be happening live between myself and Ket Walski. There'll be two parts to it. The first one's going to be about 30 minutes where we talk about the spice, the spilled tea. We're not going to be afraid. That will be limited to those who are patrons or members. But then we'll be doing an hour-long section where we just talk with you guys and have a lot of fun. It'll be really enjoyable. All AI is evil, I agree. For those who don't know, I'll say this real quick and then we'll look into the Delta Flyer. For those who don't know, my channel was actually shut down by a YouTube bot. This was when I was starting to use it to get all of my money. A YouTube bot thought my channel was spam, destroyed my entire living. And then I tried to appeal it, and they said that it was right, that it was exactly spam. Luckily, I got a YouTube hero, but when I came back, the image I used to represent the evil YouTube AI was that one, was Akuna, or however the hell you say her name. And so I've always done that since. Does join the channel for $1.99 get you more than $2 on Patreon? I don't mind switching. Stoked for the podcast. It doesn't. They're one-to-one. The only thing it'll allow you to do is you will get the emojis here and a little thing next to your name on YouTube. But it's about the same. So, and technically that might try to charge you twice because you're getting charged from Patreon. Even if you quit, then you come. I mean, it's your choice. But If you're already on Patreon, I'd just stay there, unless you just want the emojis. I'm going to be doing a lot on both sides, though. Well, technically, Star Trek fans do a lot of spam. That is true. Warp 8 TNG scale takes 73 years. It does not, Surf Tectonics. I don't know where the hell... What the hell? Where the hell did you get that from? Warp is a lot slower than that. A lot, sir. Warp 8 TNG scale. Warp 8, what do we say? 75? Yeah, no, it takes 100 years or more. So, Laura, have you decided on what you want your costume to be for Halloween? It depends on what my girls want me to be. I'm sure it's going to be something just lovely. Janeway and Paris hitting up Warp 10. Where'd you get the lizards from? Do they have lizards here? I did not know they had lizards. That's cool. Yeah, the emojis are very, very underused. They should use the Constitution class Enterprise A. They should have hauled the old girl out of mothballs. It could go to the center of the galaxy in a day. You know, you're right. You are absolutely right. That's exactly what they should have done. Yeah, that was a horrible, horrible movie. Just bad. Suppose the saucer section used the quick way home. Could the drive section of the galaxy make it across the Delta Quadrant? Probably not. I don't think. I mean, they're just crippling themselves by doing that. They should have retired the Miranda class years ago. Dude, you're telling me. Yeah, it makes no sense for Star Trek Online to have the Miranda class. It really makes no sense for them to be in Deep Space Nine. I get why they did it, but I mean, a lot of people will say, a lot of people will sit there and say, well, you know, you have the whatever B bombers that are 150 years old still. I don't know. Nonprofit Plague, love your content. Well, my content loves you, Nonprofit. This is cool. My first live podcast of yours. Really enjoy your stuff. Technically, this is just a live stream, Perry, my friend, but I knew you were going to be here, so that's why I did it specifically for you. You know, I did it all for you, really. You know, if you want to think about it, Jonathan. It was all for you. Laura, if you think about it, was the Sovereign constructed before or after Voyager? Because if it's before, they should have different cores, as for some reason each class has a unique core. The Sovereign was after the Intrepid. I don't think we have any evidence that it came before. Well, you know what? Your math is wrong, or your calculator takes 73 years at Warp 8. Where are you getting your source? I would love to see your citation, Surf Tectonics. And I'm not wrong. You're wrong, sir. You're wrong. Well, hold on. We can actually tell. Sorry, I'm getting drunk text. All right. Battle of Sector 001. Battle of Sector 001. When did that occur? 2373. And I think that's late 2373, wasn't it? Let's see when Voyager was created. Let's do this. What star date did Voyager launch? Star Trek. 2371. All right, so now we're going to have to do this the fracking hard way, aren't we? 2373. The Intrepid launched before the Sovereign. I would say the Sovereign was very, very new when they got it, especially if it was given to the Enterprise. Though that creates some interesting conversations, isn't it? Because if they didn't have the Sovereign after the destruction of the Enterprise D, I mean, were they all in O berths for that time? What? I don't know. Erudite Fuzz. You know, every time I see Erudite, I think Sailor Moon. I'm a huge Sailor Moon fan. Erudite Fuzz. Haven't had a lot of time to be involved with YouTube, but I see War Canoe, and I feel like I need to keep that joke going, says Erudite Fuzz. Hey, Erudite Fuzz, if you haven't heard, the War Canoe podcast is we're naming it after that. There's a podcast I'm starting. It's called the War Canoe Podcast. There are several technical manuals you can buy. Any alpha canon? Drunk on the power of texting in a live stream. No, I'm not. No, this person. So, lore, the Sovereign should have a far better core than Voyager, as it would need to produce more power for a larger ship, and it was a state of the art at the time, so the Sovereign would do well. I would mostly agree. Sovereign was launched in 2373. We don't know if it was launched in 2373. The first time we observed the Sovereign is in 2373, and that was the Enterprise E at the Battle Sector 001. I would say it would have been within 2373, 2372. We do know starting at 2371, Starfleet started ramping up its ship creation to counter the Dominion. And honestly, there's no evidence that they ever did that on purpose. It just happened that way, which was kind of awesome in my opinion. But in 2371, we started seeing Intrepids. We started seeing Akuras being pumped out. We started seeing more advanced fleets. And this was a direct... while some of these ships in canon, in dialogue, were started with the Borg, they really jumpstart them due to the Dominion. And so from 2371, we start seeing some beasts come out, which is, it's really cool. I really like that. Epic 00, Lore Reloaded. In your opinion, what was the best Workhorse Federation ship? The best Workhorse Federation ship would probably be the Miranda or the Ambassador. The Miranda or the Ambassador class, I would say. Probably the Miranda, because we see it more. Nice, right? The Sense of Morality says, nice Riker Ballard. Also, the Feds need to grow a pair. I would agree. I think they would towards the end. I think that with the Dominion, they definitively do. Want to talk while I'm live? Question mark. The E was also on the Shakedown cruise for how long? I don't know. Was that the Shakedown cruise? I don't think so. Look at Memory Alpha. Well, first off, Memory Alpha isn't always correct. Warp factor document, warp 8, you can go 2.08 light years in 24 hours. I don't know. I would question that. That doesn't seem consistent with what we see in TNG and Deep Space Nine. They go a lot slower than that. I'd have to take a look at that. Warp speed, Josh shows warp can cross 10,000 light years in 98 years, so 7 times that, 686 years. Yeah, I love how it's not consistent. That's something I'll grant. It is wildly inconsistent, even in TNG and DS9. They really move at the speed of plot. They honest to God do. Geordi said they've been in space for almost a year. Okay, so if they've been in space for almost a year, and that was the shakedown cruise of the Enterprise, there would be one more ship before it, the USS Sovereign. I think the Sovereign's canon. I think we see the Sovereign. Let me see. Let's find out together, people. I just sat there and said we can't always agree or trust Memory Alpha, and then here I'm like, let's see if the I like Memory Alpha. I like Memory Alpha a lot, and they get it right more than they don't. They are a wiki though, so it's like my channel, trust but verify. Ships we don't. I guess they weren't. I could have swore the Sovereign was Alpha canon though. According to Memory Alpha, it's not. Doesn't mean it's not Alpha canon. I could have swore I saw it somewhere though. We have no real comparison of technological progress, do we? Yes, the Miranda class may be old and for sure not as advanced as newer ships, but it may still have had some reasonable punch. I am of the opinion that the Miranda class itself, sorry, I was thinking about what I want to say. The Miranda class itself was the only thing they probably kept on the Miranda was its hull. I think that everything on the inside would look like a Galaxy class, maybe even similar to an Intrepid class. I think they would have gutted everything and then just replaced it. Given the amount of miniaturization technology the Federation has, that's not exactly a leap. So, I think that that's where they went. So, hold on, let's do this because I can't have one of these shows without this being a segment. I gotta find other people to bug though. A Klingon ship did make it out to meet Voyager. Yeah, but wasn't that like a 500-year-old ship, like something just incredibly stupid. It took them like 500 years or something. She's not going to answer. Watch. I'll bet you money.
Your call has been forwarded to...
Yeah, I knew it. I think you were looking for pre-TNG warp scale. The old scale warp 8 would take about 140 years. No, it's not the old TNG. It's not the old TOS scale. I know that for sure. The USS Sovereign, it's shown in the game Star Trek Bridge. I know it was in the Bridge Commander, but I could have swore that we saw it in Deep Space Nine on a console. We didn't actually see it. Or maybe in one of the movies. I don't know. Maybe I'm going crazy. Voyager ran into an early D7. Yeah, which was interesting to me because the D7, didn't they act like the D7 put them in danger or something? Like they were worried of it? I am not married, Charles Ryan Lee, so I do not have a wife to rebel against. So that would alas not be my fate. The D7 had multiple generations on it. It was there for a long time. Say their ancestors began the journey. Yeah, I remember them saying the ancestors. I just don't know how long. To get there, it would have had to been decades or something. Or not decades, centuries, wouldn't it? Would have to been something stupid. I mean, it didn't really make a ton of sense, honestly. When you think about it and break it down too much, there's no way the ship should have made it. I think it would have been a lot more interesting, too. They missed, in that Voyager episode, they really missed an opportunity. Instead of making the Klingons look like the Klingons of the age, they should have made it. They should have made it where the Klingons looked like the original series Klingons. Or some different offshoot. They should have went different with it. They had the opportunity. Voyager was afraid due to the D7 era Klingons would attack the Federation. Why would you be scared of an old D7? A D7 can't do jack. A D7 can't hurt. Well, I mean, they could hurt an Oberth, but I mean, they couldn't. A D7 is the match of a Constitution. An ambassador would beat the living hell out of a D7. Voyager after season 4 with all of the Borg tech would spank any Starfleet. Voyager after season... I would agree with that, yeah. Because of all the Borg... As you said, Borg tech. Not just Borg tech. They upgraded other technology as well. Was there a Sovereign class? There was not a Sovereign class in Deep Space Nine at any point. And that was done due to Paramount. Paramount did not want a Sovereign class vessel in Deep Space Nine because they wanted people to go watch the movie. Now, a lot of people say, well, that shows that, I mean, it is stupid. It is on par with the 25% thing, where it's like, well, it means it's in a different timeline, blah, blah, blah. No. The Sovereigns actually were a part of the fleet. We just don't see them in Deep Space Nine. I mean, that would be like, well, Picard. Well, we saw Picard. Well, whoever, X person isn't in it because we didn't see them in Deep Space Nine, or we didn't see this in Deep Space Nine. Janeway wasn't worried about the D7. Janeway disables. Yeah, I mean, they take it on, but they did seem worried. I swear, they believe they got concerned about it. Voyager got more efficient replicators when they collaborated with other species caught in the rift. They did. Kazon won because the Voyager crew were idiots. Like big time idiots in a lot of ways. They should not have won to the chance they did. Inconsistent writing in Trek, you say, yeah. Could a Dodera Dex make it across? Perhaps the Scimitar might have. A Dodera Dex could not at any point. Made it across at any point. Voyager turns on COD mode during time. Yeah, I hate what they did to the Borg. I kind of understand. Oh, on that topic, for those who are watching, on the first Friday, so about a week and 1 day, at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be talking to a writer of Voyager. She was there during some of the best and some of the worst. I believe she helped write for Threshold, though she also wrote for some of the what I consider the best Voyager episodes. So I'm really looking forward to talking to her. We're going to talk about Voyager, Discovery, just everything Trek. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. The Sovereign was built as a part of rebuilding of the Task Force fleet. Sovereign was built... No, the Sovereign wasn't built immediately after. As I said, it may have went into production. Or not production. It may have went into creation where they were trying to put it together. But they didn't really finalize or actualize it until the 2370s. Will we see the Borg Queen return? I hope to God not. I hope we don't see her coming at all. I honest to God, don't. So the TNG scale, warp 8 has to be faster. No, I don't. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Bad, Jeff Franklin. Bad. All right, guys, I'm going to be ending it fairly shortly. Tell me, can you... I'm going to share it now, but there's like a 30-second delay. Without looking at what it's supposed to be, without going over it, can you tell me what those are? Those emojis. Laura, have you seen Spencer Enterprise? I haven't seen Spencer Enterprise. What is Spencer Enterprise? Let me look it up. Spencer Enterprise. It's apparently a company in Fresno, but no, I haven't seen it. Laura, are you excited for the Section 31 show? No, I'm not. I don't think it's going to be anything near what it was in Deep Space Nine, and I find it highly contrived. Which canon starship do you find the most aesthetically pleasing? Mine would be the Akira class. I love the Akira class. Jeff Franklin, there are 1,000 different ways the warp scale works in the series, both in the original series and in the Next Generation. It's just not consistent, buddy. It's not. I'm sorry. I personally apologize on behalf of everyone that has ever done this. Anyone who has hurt you when it comes to this warp scale, to make it this personal for you, I want to apologize on their behalf. But I can show you multiple sources where the warp scale is inconsistent. The warp scale I used based on what I was looking at is what said that it would be there. What kind of deep space ships do you think were sent out to meet Voyager by Starfleet? None? Are you saying they were trying to get there? I mean, if they would probably send the Prometheus, I think, didn't they? Wasn't the Prometheus going on the outskirts? Hey, you know how the Borg Queen said there was... Wow. Hey, you know how the Borg Queen said she was there at the beginning and at the initial Federation conflict, but we didn't see her? Could it be she was the collective consciousness? Maybe. There's a lot of theories around that. I'm sorry, but the TOS scale is a cube of the warp factor. This is not in dispute. It is in dispute, Jeff. I apologize that you think it's not, but it is. The warp scale... okay, you know what, Jeff? You're right. The warp scale is not in dispute. You nailed it. Can you tell me what warp speed the Enterprise was going when it got to the center of the universe? Nobody help him. Just let me know that, and I'll admit that the warp scale is not inconsistent. They sent, I think, 2 deep space exploration ships to meet Voyager. I don't remember that. The transwarp conduit didn't end in deep space. No need for that kind of ship. What? I guess. The cubed warp scale originated in the old Fossa RPG. Oh, you mean Beta Canon? Yeah, Beta Canon. Laura, go YouTube for Spencer Enterprise. Well, let's do that real quick. YouTube.com. Spencer Enterprise. Oh, is this... Okay. That's cool. That looks interesting. I can't show that. People who do that are really... The warp scale was a Shatner stupidity scale, Jeff. I'll grant that, buddy. He was going to warp Shatner's stupidity. I will grant that. Why are you making a live at 1 a.m.? It's not 1 a.m. It's actually 10:51. The reason why I went live at 10:51 was for a couple of reasons. First off, I did some updates to YouTube memberships. So I wanted to see what members could see and what you guys could do, what you couldn't do. And then the second piece was the it was the icons, and then to tell about the War Canoe podcasts. Jeff, I'm sitting here saying it's inconsistent. I'm saying there's multiple sources. If you'd like, I can try to pull those together, not tonight, but I will tomorrow, of the multiple scales that we see both in the original series, the animated series, the next generation. After the next generation, they stay consistent going forward. I don't know where you got yours from. You just randomly said it's fact. Now, someone said it was from Beta Canon, and if it's from Beta Canon, I'm just going to ignore it right out. It's not inaccurate. You'd have to provide me with an Alpha Canon source for me to take it seriously. I literally could just point to an episode and it be better than what you provided me if you just gave me Beta Canon. And I will say that the movie where they went to the center of the universe is my Alpha Canon evidence. Alpha Canon always trumps Beta Canon, so until you provide me with a better source than something from Baby. Memory Alpha is a wiki. Memory Alpha doesn't mean anything. Let's see. Memory Alpha warp scale. That is not. Where in the canon? And let's see where they pulled this from, just out of curiosity. Oh, that's funny. That goes back. Warp speed anomalies at Diltil. Let's look at that. I'll have to take a look at it. I mean, again, I like Memory Alpha, but they get it wrong from time to time. I'd be curious where they got their stuff from. And if I'm looking at this and any of this at any point does not show me an episode, and for instance, right here, the show's writer-director's guide confirmed as early as March 23, 1987, that Warp 1 remained the speed of light. The writer's-director's guide is not Alpha Canon. So that I'm just going to ignore right out. Now, it's possible that they also point to an episode, which would make it Alpha Canon. But right there, I'm going to ignore that because that's Beta Canon. That is not Alpha Canon. I mean, I'll take a look at it, Jeff. I will. That would be... Now, there was that point you brought up we could use. So in Voyager, and I have to go check, but it sounds right, they said it would take 70 years to get home, right? Then we can just go back. See, look, and there's Surf Tectonics. Star Trek Minutia Warp Calculator says Warp 8 takes 73 years. And as we all know, Star Trek Minutia is definitive Alpha Canon. It is Star Trek Minutia is more Alpha Canon than anything you'll find. So, thank you. They said in Voyager more than once. Okay. Long time to see, no lore. What's up, Matt Whitaker? Hope you're doing well. Let me be clear. It is stated that the Orville's top speed is 10 light years per hour. We got to break. Yeah, didn't they say something stupid? By the way, I was being highly sarcastic when I said Star Trek Minutia was Alpha Canon. I was being like ridiculously sarcastic when I said that, if you think I'm being serious. Talking about the Orville for a second. I'll have to go take a look at it. But talking about the Orville for a second, 10 light years per hour. I think that's like ridiculously fast, isn't it? Like incredibly stupid. It blows Star Trek the original, or it blows Star Trek like right out of the water. I think. All right, guys. Well, beyond that, let me ask the last question. And I really will look into that, Jeff. And that's fine. Again, just because it's Jeff, honestly, trust but verify, just like I'd say do with my channel. Just because it's on Memory Alpha doesn't mean much. And other channels will, or other websites, just copy what Memory Alpha says. You really have to look a lot deeper than you would think. But I'm not saying you could be right. I'm not, that's definitely possible. Give me a second. Battery low. All right. So this is going to be the new, this is going to be the logo, if I can get it to work. Which I think I can. This thing is massive. Amazing. No. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, people. Hold on. Wait for it. Oh, that's how it works. Okay, whatever. How did I get cut off? I hate not being smart. All right, there we go. What do you guys think of the logo? Give me your opinion. Episode Dauntless pre-arrival of Arcturus. Admiral said, we rerouted several of our deep space ships to your current position, and they should rendezvous with you in a few years. But wasn't that a lie? Wasn't that... Yeah, that was Jesse Lee Peterson. I've been watching... Jesse Lee Peterson has to be the one of the dumbest people I've ever seen on God's green earth. I really think that... and I think he's sincere. I think a lot of people take advantage of him, and I think that's sad. What do you guys think of that logo? You need a G over those oars, and you can have an orgy ship. That's what an orgy ship? I don't know. Seth MacFarlane chose that for quantum speed, so that would make more sense on screen that the travel so far in a single episode. Okay. Oh, for the thing. Pre-Arcturus translation. Yeah, but the entire thing, when it comes to Arcturus sending it, I thought that the entire thing was faked. Even the message wholly. The O-berth is slower than a canoe. Yeah, I didn't say it was entirely consistent. The O-berth is definitely slower than a canoe. That is true. That looks like Ketwalski, but that does not look like you. It looks like me if I was a person of color. I didn't realize that I wonder if it's just the translation here. I don't know. I don't need legs, sir. You never see my legs on here. Think about that. You never see my legs. Starfleet sent it because they found the original message. Okay, well, that's fine. I don't know. What kind of deep space do I think? They probably sent other Intrepids. If not Prometheus as well. The real question I still want answered is how fast can a Leviathan ship travel from Farscape? I don't know. I haven't watched Farscape all that much. The Orville would be traveling about warp, 9.997. I know it was stupid. It was 10 per light year. So it was like just stupid. PewDiePie doesn't have legs. That's true. I should get a tan to make it work. There we go. Laura, are you Hispanic? I am, in fact, Hispanic. I don't know how you didn't know. Se hablo español. How dare you insult the O-berth that way with your logo? That's true. Am I missing an inside joke? Yeah, so here's what happened. And maybe the person's on here or not. I wish I could. And, I'll try to look it up right now while we're doing it. So when I first started doing the channel, I started doing a lot of the ship breakdowns. The Oberth was one of the first few ships that I did, and I absolutely ripped into the ship. It made no sense, and it still doesn't. It is so absolutely stupid. There is no reason to have it. And one of one of my fans, early fans, said, this is like, because I compared it to other ships and it's just so ridiculously stupid. And someone was saying, well, this is like, maybe it was you, Erudite Fuzz. Maybe that's where it came from. Yeah, it was Erudite Fuzz. Yeah, that's awesome. Are you still here, Eddie Erudite Fuzz? So is Erudite Fuzz. Yeah. So what was I going with that? Anyway, so a Oberth has like a phaser. And if you compare it to a Miranda that has like 600 phasers in comparison, it makes no sense. And so this happened about a year ago. I was still pretty small. Believe it or not, I got the bulk of my subscribers like within the last year. So I had like 10,000, if that. And this was the comment. And this was based on that video. So Erudite Fuzz a year ago. I don't even know why the Oberth would be deployed for any combat engagement. I guess if they were there to utilize the massive sensor palette, it would make sense. In any other context, it's like sending out an aircraft carrier, a handful of battleships, several destroyers, and the war canoe. That, I laughed so hard when I saw that. It was, oh yeah, Jeff, we're all good, man. I didn't have any hard feelings at all. And I knew you didn't either. But I laughed so hard when I saw that. And I have used that as a joke for the Oberth ever since. And it has been something, that and gelato machines has been an inside joke of the channel. And so that's why I wanted to use it. Because I've been thinking about putting a podcast together for a while. And I was going back and forth how to do it. Did I want it to have its own thing? Did I want to do a name that made sense so that when people saw it, they instantly knew what was going on? And the more I thought about it, people don't know me for anything else but Lore Reloaded. So why should I start from scratch? I'm just going to put it on my channel and I'll call it the War Canoe podcast. My subscribers will know what it is and it'll just grow like that. That's really cool, Erudite Fuzz. It's really awesome. I'm glad. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for inspiring that. You can't sue me for the name though. It's too late. I copyrighted it like instantly as soon as you said it. In fact, you didn't do any of that. I just made all that all up. I did it. I came up with the name. I thought of it like years before Lore Reloaded even came out. The hull of the Oberth is made of explodium. All right, guys, I think that is where we're going to be ending it. Jeff, I know it's no hard feelings, man. I will look into that tomorrow and show you the thing. This is the most influence I've ever had on YouTube. Well, hey, you inspired hundreds, if not thousands, of people to see a new name. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to, if you really, I don't think you are, but if you're really upset about it, I'd be happy to buy the rights for the name from you. Thanks. Just send James at lorereloaded.com. I'm not going to pay much for it, but I'll be happy to pay if you want me to. I don't think you do, but if you did, let me know. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Guys, I'm going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded. God, I'm tired.